Hi, I'm Dr. Elliot Adam from ElliotOracle.com. I'm also the author of the award-winning Fearless Tarot and Tarot in Love, Consulting the Cards and Matters of the Heart. Both books are published by Llewellyn, and they're sold online wherever books are sold. And it is time for this week's Tarot Oracle Reveal. So earlier on my social media, I placed up a photo of 3 different animals and asked you to use your intuition and just ask yourself which animal seems to be nudging at your consciousness, because that animal has a message for you. And the 3 animals were the honeybee, the owl, and the bat. So if you're just joining me now, ask yourself which animal seems to be getting caught in your head. It doesn't have to be your favorite animal, it just has to be the one that seems to be pulling at you. And if my style of reading resonates with you, you can also book a one-on-one tarot session with me at ElliotOracle.com. And without further ado, let's go into the first animal, which is the honeybee. So if you're attracted to the honeybee this next week, honeybee is the one that makes the honey. It gets the sweetest results. And honeybee could indicate that this is a time for you to really get clear about what your projects are, what the long-term focus is for you. Honeybee can also indicate that with daily effort, you're going to get the sweetest results. So this is a time to get to work, but it's on work that is sweet. It's on work that actually gives you a delightful reward. It isn't something that's just a grind or a slog. So this could be a time where you're really prioritizing your passions or your bliss. And the honeybee is saying that there's absolutely a way to make this work for you. You may need to find the right, formula for success, but this card says to put in the effort. So first card for honeybee is, what is it best to place your focus on this next week? And we get the Fool. And I love the Fool because he is the freedom seeker of the tarot. He represents new beginnings, but he's also numbered 0, which means he isn't attached to any sort of identity right now. He has the total freedom to experience every other card of the tarot and not feel overly identified with it. The Fool is telling you right now that a whole new world is opening up to you, and it's time for you to dive into it. This is a card of movement and progress. And yes, the Fool is also the traveler. You can see his bags are packed. He's going out into the world. And what this can indicate is putting yourself in new environments or challenging yourself to leave the status quo behind. If you've been looking at your life and saying, gosh, why isn't anything improving? Or I really want to see this thing happen, but daily you're just doing the same old thing over and over, rinse and repeat. The Fool is telling you to break out of that. But this card can also indicate that it's so important for you to not be afraid of looking like a fool. Anytime we're going into something new, it can be scary. And it could also be a time where we're really starting to self-doubt. But I feel like if you pick the honeybee, the sun is shining on you, much like it's shining on the Fool. And it's time to have faith in your ideas. And risk looking stupid, risk letting people in on what it is that you really desire. I think that challenging your fear aspect of this is what's really going to lead you toward taking that next step up and leveling up. The next card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom. And we get the 4 of Wands. So 2 very celebratory cards here for the honeybee. This could be a time where it is so exciting because you're just on this threshold of this new beginning. But the inner wisdom is telling you with the 4 of Wands that you need to enjoy what you're doing. If you want to be successful with what you're doing, put the joy into it. The 4 of Wands can also represent celebration, celebrating your rites of passage. Even if, you've just done a little bit of work today or tomorrow on this goal, and maybe you've just put in 20 minutes researching it or putting out applications or starting to write or whatever it is that you're doing, that is something to celebrate because you're actually taking the time and putting in the effort to see this thing actually happen. So don't look at everything that still has to be done. The 4 of Wands is all about celebrating your smaller rites of passage, but it's also a card of just having fun. The Fool and the 4 of Wands. This says it's time to enjoy your life. If you're not enjoying it, something's got to change. And so this could be a time where you really need to focus on, okay, am I getting delight out of this? Am I enjoying this process of what I'm doing? And if the answer is no, something needs to shift about it. But I just kind of feel like this is an exciting time for the honeybee. Whatever it is that you're working on is going to result in the sweetest results. And then the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week is Janus. He's a Roman god of beginnings and endings, and he has two faces. One faces the past, one faces the future. And Janus has to do with thresholds, those things that we step over from one reality to the next. And what this card can really indicate is that you are at a threshold right now. And like so many people, sometimes we have all our ducks in a row, everything's ready to go. We just have to take that final step and commit to our goal. And that's where our inner saboteur comes in our ear and says, are you sure you're going to want to do that? What if you fail? What if you look stupid like the fool? What if something doesn't work out? Janus is telling you to look ahead of the threshold, take the step anyway. There is courage that needs to happen this next week as well. And Janus's card says, I am supported as I move from old cycles into new circles of experience. And you are supported. There is this energy, this divine energy, this blissful energy that's leading you forward. So as Joseph Campbell used to say, follow your bliss. This is what's absolutely going to open up doorways for you. Next, we're going to go into the owl animal spirit. So if you're attracted to the owl this next week, owl is that archetype of wisdom. And the owl can indicate as well being able to see in the dark or see through the dark. Maybe everything in your life isn't completely visible to you right now. Maybe it might even feel like something's shrouded in darkness or in mystery. The owl is your guide to lead you through those dark mists and to get clear about what is actually there. This could also be a time where your senses are heightened, a heightened sense of hearing, sure, and seeing like the owl, but also a heightened sense of intuition, psychic ability. And so this is a time to really trust your hunches. It's going to help you navigate through the dark, much like the owl. First card for the owl is where is it best for you to place your focus this next week? And we get the Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles for me is the student of the tarot. He represents projects, but he also represents learning about how to make that thing happen. And you can see he wears the red cap, and red is the color of passion. You need to have passion for whatever it is that you're learning at this time. This could also be a great time for you to consider what are the skill sets that I'm refining or honing at this time. Maybe it's time to level those up. Maybe it's time to hold yourself to a higher standard. And sometimes Page of Pentacles can actually indicate taking a class, doing a course, planting the seeds for things that are going to grow over time. The Page of Pentacles is also associated with the element of earth, and he's all about planting those seeds. And because he's a page, pages are the children of the tarot. They represent life situations that are still in their infancy. And even in the background of the Page of Pentacles' card, you can see these things that are just in their beginnings of their formations. Like that little cluster of trees isn't quite a full-on forest. That little mound in the background isn't quite a mountain range. The little field there isn't a fully grown farm. And so this is a time where things are really getting established for the moment. And it's just taking its time to fully develop. But I just feel like the seeds that are planted now are going to lead toward wonderful results. But this card will always tell you that you want to focus on learning, education, that the knowledge that you seek is always out there. And it just requires a little effort from you to reach out and find out what it is that you need to know to take the next step forward. The next card is going to be advice from your inner wisdom if you pick the owl. And we get the Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups is a wonderful card in the tarot. It represents rebirth and renewal. It also represents love or loving what you're doing. And yet there's a sacred quality to this card. You can see the dove is coming out of the heavens, and it's in communion with the chalice below, which is then overflowing and replenishing the pond below it. And so Ace of Cups is all about pouring your love, pouring your spirit, pouring your soul into the thing that you enjoy. That is what life is really all about. And in fact, the first two animals, both the honeybee and the owl, it looks like there is this call toward your passion, toward what you really enjoy. Ace of Cups can also indicate that you're needing to be in love with what you're learning. So you might want to be selective about what it is that you're going to be placing your attention on, or what it is that you're choosing to study. It should feel like, ooh, I'm excited to learn about this, or, oh, this is just fascinating. I could stay up way past my bedtime, reading about this topic. And so I just feel like the feeling component for both the honeybee and the owl this next week are oh so important for sustaining your motivation to keep going with this thing. But Ace of Cups, I mean, aces are great to get in a tarot reading. Ace of Cups can indicate that you're onto something that's actually going to unleash your joy. And I just feel like that is going to be the magic thing that's going to make it all happen for you. For the mythic archetype that's going to help you if you pick the owl, we actually get chaos. And chaos isn't like chaos as in like, what a mess. Well, I guess it could be that. But chaos in the Greek myths is actually the primordial ooze, the primordial darkness of which everything that comes is emerged from. And so chaos could be coming up for you where you're in this beginning, almost amorphous, chaotic stage of what it is that you're developing. And yet within that chaos are all the seeds for all the light and all the wonderful things that are going to be built in time. This card says, I access my potential, free of limitations. My path of truth stands out from all given possibilities to become a manifest probability. And so I just kind of feel like this is a time for you to really place your focus on what it is that you're wanting to emerge from this sort of dark period. You know, the owl sees its way through the dark. It will help you navigate through the chaos. And by honing in on the thing that really interests you, that just makes your spirit sing, that's where the key is. And so don't give up on your dream. Don't give up on your goals. It's absolutely going to happen for you if you choose it. And you just need to not talk yourself out of it because you can't see everything, or you don't know how it's all going to go, or you can't fast forward your life and know in hindsight how it all transpired. That's part of the adventure. So I just feel like you need to trust the vision, the inner vision of the intuitive owl, even if it feels like you're still going through the dark right now. And then our third animal spirit is another nocturnal winged creature in the bat. And bat is often an animal archetype of the shamanistic death and rebirth process, where you go through a symbolic death, where you let go of an old identity, where you face your shadow, and yet you reemerge, reborn, and renewed. Bat can also, like the owl, represent a period of your life where you're navigating through the dark. And yet bat has really a refined sense of hearing. This might be a week where you're clairaudient, where you're hearing messages, or where you might even feel like you're just open or receptive to spirit messages. It could be from your ancestors or your guides or just anything in nature even. Open up your ears this next week because the answer is going to be whispered on the wind for you. First card for bat is where is it best for you to place your focus this next week? And we get the Six of Swords, which is a card of movement, motion. Sometimes it's technically a moving card. It can indicate changing your residence or planning to do so, or it can represent travel. But a lot of times the Six of Swords too just indicates movement on a psychic or spiritual level, progress. Again, you're leveling up. You're getting to the next place. And the refugees on this card, they're leaving the rough waters behind. They're sailing toward the smooth waters. This is the card of benevolent change in the tarot. And it's so important that you're surrendering to the current around you. There's a natural flow to your life right now. It is guiding you toward what you need. And you need to listen to it. You need to listen to those rushing waters. You need to surrender to where they're flowing. This is a time where you don't have to put in a bunch of like effort and stress and try to pound something out. Instead, the Six of Swords is really saying it's time to just surrender. It's time to let go and just see where this can take you next. And I just kind of feel with the Six of Swords as well, there's relief waiting for you on that opposite shore. The advice from your inner wisdom, if you pick the bat, is the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Now, Queen of Pentacles, when she's reversed, that little nattering, anxious-filled rabbit that's normally at the bottom of the card hidden away, now it's at the top. And what it can represent is anxiety, is front of mind. And anxiety or a nervous energy that might be distracting you from your projects. And like the bat, you're needing to face your fear. You're needing to face the dark part or the worry here. The thing about anxiety is it's really easy to tune into it and just let it run over your mind and completely just kind of let yourself feel isolated with it and not feel like you have any control. And yet you do have control of where you place your focus. It might be a time where you literally have to get out of your own head and out into the world so that you can start to see things clearly. This is not a time to isolate with your fears or ruminate over them when the Queen of Pentacles comes up reversed. She's also a card that can represent that there's a practical aspect to this that you might be missing, or that your anxiety might be talking you out of even just taking the most basic steps toward what could bring you happiness or joy. And so just know to be anxious is easy. It's so easy for all of us to just say, well, I'm uncomfortable. I'm scared. I don't want to do this right now. Yeah, everybody gets that way. And sometimes you just have to say, I'm going to do this anyway, even though I'm really scared, even though this is making me a little anxious. That's how you grow. And when you face those sources of your anxiety and you find that they don't kill you and that you actually persevered, it gives you confidence and it lessens the effect of the nattering rabbit in your mind, and it gives you a sense of power and accomplishment. So I just kind of feel like the bat is having to stretch out of the comfort zone with the anxiety. And, I get it. I have tons of anxiety too. I used to be afraid to leave my house when I was a kid, because I was so tuned into the world and everything I felt at the store, on the street, how people were looking at me. I was absorbing all of it. And so I wanted to hide, but that didn't help me grow. And so too for you, it's cutting you off from your courage, your bravery. And there's so much more for you if you get out of that chokehold of that little nattering voice that's telling you you can't do it, because you absolutely can. Be brave. Like the Six of Swords is showing, follow the current, leave the comfort zone, leave the rough waters behind, and just allow things to happen by at least starting the first practical step toward your goal. And then the mythic archetype that's going to help you this next week, if you pick the bat, is Asclepius. He's the god of healing and the god of medicine. He can indicate that there's deep healing for you this next week. And somehow it has to do with emotional healing, because I think that anxiety component with the rabbit is really clear here. And I just kind of feel like this is a time for you to say, okay, am I going to be, held hostage by this thing anymore? Or am I going to seek out the support I need in order to overcome it? And sometimes, we can't just use willpower to get over anxiety. Sometimes we do need support. Sometimes we might need a medicine or a physician. And yet make the choice to at least, start the process for that, talk to somebody, see what you can do, see if they can meet you where you're at. But I do feel like there is a healing that needs to happen right now, and heal thyself as well. Heal thyself by just challenging yourself to not let the anxiety hold you hostage. This card says, within me, I have the power to heal the obstacles to my well-being. Yes, you do. You absolutely have that power. Don't listen to anybody who says, no, I can't heal anxiety because it's just my chronic condition. And they say that I can't because it's just something I'm helplessly stuck with. Don't listen to that. That is BS. You can totally heal this. And maybe you do need to seek some support, but it's absolutely something that you can do. So do not let your fears hold you back. This is a week to be fearless. It's a week to heal your soul by summoning your courage. And that is this week's Oracle. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can always schedule a one-on-one tarot session with me at elliotoracle.com. I'd love to see what my cards have in store for you. And also I have signed books there, gift certificates, and I also just started offering email readings, which are really taking off. So people send me their question, and then I make a video much like this, particular just to you. And then I send that to your inbox and answer that question for you. So you can book that at elliotoracle.com as well. I hope you all have a wonderful week, whatever it is that you're doing, and I'll see you again here next week. So do take care.